Hi everyone, I hope you're well. This is CoinsKid. Just going to Bitcoin. We've got a CoinsKid crew. If you're not already involved in the Discord, the private Discord just there, definitely do please get involved. There's lots of great content in there. I'll be posting a lot of trade setups, long and short, in there as well. And a series of tutorials on how to trade on multiple time frames, okay, and things to look out for. So, please get involved in that community. The links in each and every single video description. Let's dive into the Bitcoin video right now. So looking at DXY on the weekly time frame, we are rallying into the weekly 20-week EMA def cross just there, okay? So possibly putting some kind of little bull trap just there, and then another little bull trap just there for the DXY, okay? So what we're looking for is continue sort of pullback into these lows, and at that point you can clearly see what we might begin to form is some kind of double top just there. Lose this support, we're going to drop, and equally a descending triangle, which is a bearish continuation pattern basically. You've come down, make a high, make a lower high, and compress, come back down to the same low and drop. It's a bearish continuation pattern right there. So if a DXY begins to come back up and takes out that high there, okay, which it put in way back in March, then you can clearly see it's reversing and starting to come back up. And if it does start to do that, then okay, the analysis of Bitcoin have a big run towards the end of this year is completely off the table right there, okay, for Bitcoin. So at the moment I have to respect the data. There is a def cross here, and equally Bitcoin is in a bullish cross and the S&P is in a bullish cross as well, which I've shown you on the 20-week EMA and the 55-week EMA on both of those charts. This is in a def cross which it formed way back in April, which is a bearish statement for the DXY, and equally a bullish statement for the S&P 500 and Bitcoin. And so far so good, okay? But what we're looking for is a continuation, a series of lower highs here, and then compression into this low, and then the drop basically, and you got a double top drop scenario for the DXY. I think on the daily time frame, I did post this on Twitter I think last week, a few days ago, we do have a potential bearish pattern that's forming just there for the DXY, in the sense that what we've got is a left shoulder ahead, we're coming up making a lower high, which is a right shoulder, compression lead to expansion here. You've got this resistance just there. Let me get this knob on for you. You've got that resistance there, and essentially if we start to come up like this, you're going to see more of a pullback for Bitcoin and crypto. But if we get the same resistance, this is still a lower high, which is still potentially the right shoulder. We lose this green trend line for the DXY, I think you're going to get flushed down towards at least this low, with the potential to lose it and then head towards that green line. Now why that green line? If we move to the left, you can clearly see on the way back up here, we've got this consolidation. We broke out just there without back to support. So for me, the DXY is looking for that. Okay, so there's no bias. If we break this white line, that would be squeaky bum time for Bitcoin, because it could sense, okay, we've got this kind of reversal pattern coming up the stairs right now. But for me, the DXY at the moment, because of the series of lower highs here over a longer period of time, it's looking for compression, for continuation to the downside, okay? And obviously it can reverse at any point, but one thing I've noticed on the DXY, once it loses its parabola, like it did just there, this huge broadening ascending wedge, and you break down certain resistance, you do usually come down in 3 waves back down to this low. So we've got this support just there, we broke out, really exuberant, people really bullish on the dollar and bearish on risk on and things like that, and we come back down. We've had another point of contact on this trend line. Now usually in the bottom out process on these particular big crashes and corrections for the DXY, we do usually head on down and have at least 3 points of contact. So this is why it's confluence in this chart, given the bearish cross and the bullish cross that we're seeing on the S&P 500 and Bitcoin, that we've not necessarily bottomed out just yet for the DXY, okay? And then we're looking for the continuation towards that dotted line towards the end of the year, which is where we're going to see that huge spike in the S&P 500 setting new highs, which I've shown you, and equally Bitcoin with the potential to break new highs as well. And you're just in a grander cycle, because if we move to the left, I've shown you many times that once you break this parabola, you start to come up, there's your point of contact, there's your point of contact, there's your point of contact, okay? Again here, massive parabola, there's your point of contact, there's your point of contact, there's your point of contact, reversal pattern, see you later, reversal pattern, see you later. So essentially, you could just been a massive impulsive wave from 2022 into 2023 for Bitcoin, and then right now you're looking to bottom out towards the end of the year, reversal pattern, and start to come back up for the remainder of the year. And this, at this point here, this is where Bitcoin sets new highs, okay? And obviously there's no guarantees. If we start to reverse here and we start to take out this resistance here for Bitcoin, and we start to take out this high that we put in March, and then we take this white line out here, then it negates all this bearishness that I'm looking at in the DXY, and obviously it leads to bearishness for Bitcoin, okay? So far so good. We're riding these waves like an absolute boss, providing we see the continued breakdown here in the DXY, and it is looking relatively bearish, then we're looking at upside for Bitcoin. Let's dive into the Bitcoin chart, see what we can see. Looking at Bitcoin on the weekly time frame, I remember all the pessimism just there, and I said to you, it's an opportunity, it's some kind of flag pattern, broken out, falling back, and you're looking to continue. But we have ran into this resistance, and everyone's getting really, really bearish again. But until you start to break down here, and you lose the structure and support of an uptrend in a bull market, Bitcoin is actually really, really bullish here, looking for continuation, okay? And the DXY is looking pretty bearish. So, until we start to see the reversal, then, there's no reason to be bearish in the long term, is there? Obviously in the short term, we try and find the pullbacks, and this is why a couple of weeks ago I did say to you the confluence in other charts, the altcoins that have had 5 waves up, I would expect Bitcoin to have a bit of a pullback week, and that's exactly what we got. Equally, I think in the RSI as well, we were looking at bearish divergence, wasn't we? You got this high here. You always use your candle bodies. We've got the higher high on the close of the candle just there, and then we've got the lower high in the RSI. But equally in the RSI as well, like I said to you, I think it's giving the game away of a potential parabolic move here for Bitcoin when no one's expecting it, basically. We're at that same sort of level. So we ran into the 70 level just there. We ran into the 70 level on that high just there. And I was expecting a pullback into the EMAs and a pullback into this zone just there, okay? Just like this level here. So we ran into the 70 level. We pulled back into the EMAs and this neckline of resistance. We've got this neckline of resistance just there as well. So, we're pretty much at this level here where we're beginning to break out, and we're possibly beginning to break out here for Bitcoin. Now, one thing that will be really, really bullish for Bitcoin, okay, is if we start to take out this level here. If we start to take out that high and equally get our ass back above the 70 level on the weekly time frame for Bitcoin, it could become extremely bullish quite quickly, because this is what happens when you break this resistance on the 70 level. You can put in these huge moves for Bitcoin that come relatively quickly, okay? Now, I remember all the pessimism here as well after that big corona dump, and then we broke out. We've got the bullish cross, which we've just printed as well, and at that time as well, in that year, the DXY printed its bearish cross. We've got exactly the same scenario in all this scenario here, in the sense that DXY has printed that bearish cross as well. So again, there's no guarantees, and if we do start to break down and we lose structure, then obviously the technical analysis and the outlook changes. But so far so good. Bitcoin's breaking out, it's making a series of higher highs and higher lows, it's looking for support. So until it loses that support of an uptrend, which is a weekly 20 MA, which is really, really important for Bitcoin in any uptrend structure, it's looking for upside, okay? So like I said to you a few weeks ago, I'm looking for a higher low here, because it's exactly what we got here. We came up, made the high low, and then that was an opportunity, and then we bolted. So at the moment for Bitcoin, I think you're going for a correction. I did post the analysis of that correction on Twitter and in a previous video as well. So if I zoom to the weekly time frame, something that's jumping out the page is a potential pullback to the top of the Gaussian channel, because usually Bitcoin pulls back once breaking out the top end of the Gaussian channel on the weekly time frame. It usually pulls back to it before going. So at the moment, that level of support, which is roughly where the 10 EMA is as well, the top end of the Gaussian channel is 28524. So some kind of ABC coming back, if we do zoom in on the daily, some kind of ABC coming back to that would not be unfounded for me. And I did post this analysis a few weeks ago as well on Bitcoin, in the sense that what we could have is some kind of ABC correction there. There's your A, there's your B, and right now you're in a C to the top end of the Gaussian, and equally the top end of the daily channel as well. Something like that for Bitcoin. Let's use the fibs to try and guesstimate exactly where this will go to if it is some kind of ABC. You can clearly see you got the 1272 at 28913, you've got the 1414 at 28623, and then you've got the 1618 at 28234. So it could just be the perfect ABC like this: A, B, C wave correction to the 1618, possibly, but again, there's no guarantees. The bottom could be in it could be a flat correction, and then we go again. But what I'm looking for Bitcoin to do to confirm that the correction is in is break the zero fib at 31554. Break that, you've got a long opportunity in front of you, for potential new highs. Who knows? Take care, everyone. Back soon with another update on Bitcoin. Stay healthy, stay strong, stay tuned. Bye bye.